All right, so our first line is going to be 2, the number 2.
No hate.
The next line will be Rahab. Rahab. Your third line is survey. Survey. And that last line is act. Act. So 2, Rahab, survey, and act. All right. Joshua chapter 2, verse 1. That Joshua, the son of Nun, secretly sent 2 spies to Shittim. Go look over the land, he said, especially Jericho. So they went and entered the house of the prostitute named Rahab and stayed there. All right, so our first point. Joshua secretly sent 2 men as spies to Shittim to explore the land. If you remember, when Moses sent the 12 spies, it was very public. Okay? They said these 12 spies are going to go, they're going to look at the land to see what God is going to give us. Joshua did it secretly. Okay? So Joshua acted with wisdom by sending only 2 spies to do so secretly. Unlike Moses' early mission in Numbers 13, where 12 spies were sent publicly, this was discreet. Joshua learned from the past, avoiding fear and doubt among the people. The departure point, Shittim, was Israel's last camp before the Jordan. This marked the transition from the wilderness wandering to conquest. It signifies God's promise in moving into fulfillment. This verse shows faith doesn't ignore planning. God calls his people to trust him while preparing wisely. Faith and preparation work together for his mission. Think about this. If Joshua didn't plan, okay, if he didn't plan, it'd be the same as someone's looking for a job. I know God's going to give me a job, but I'm going to sit here on the couch and wait for the phone to ring. That's not going to happen. Joshua was preparing, getting everything set to go forward, okay? Preparation is not a thing where you're going against faith in God. Willie?
Yeah, now my mind goes back to God first told them to go to the land.
Mm-hmm.
He told them, I'm going to drive them out with the hornets. And Israel was not going to have to do anything but go in and get it and enjoy it. And it was Israel that chose to have spies, and that's what screwed up the whole thing.
Yep.
They didn't believe God.
That's right.
From Jump Street.
That's right. Yeah.
And now they had to die and fight, whereas God was going to drive them out with the hornets.
Right. God was going to get rid of them. All they had to do is walk over.
Thank you.
But Moses sent the spies,
Thank you.
and then the doubt fell.
Thank you.
Then they wandered for 40 years.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But they did not have the faith to do
Let
it.
the church say, amen.
When we look at point 2, the men went and entered the house of Rahab, a prostitute, and lodged there. A lot of us probably think, why in the world did they go to this house, right? So the spies entered Rahab's house, identified as that of a prostitute. God's grace is revealed in using unlikely people in his plan. Her house was a sanctuary for God's purpose. Think of it this way. Think of the 12 disciples.
Mm-hmm.
Who would have picked those 12 to spread the gospel, right? I mean, just think of that. Uneducated. You had a tax collector who was everybody considered a thief. I mean, you had a zealot. I mean, God uses unlikely people to fulfill his promise. The spies entered Rahab's house. Rahab's inclusion into Israel's story demonstrates God's mercy. Through a Canaanite, a questionable background, she became part of the Messiah's genealogy. You look at Matthew 1:5. This is from Matthew 1:5. Salmon, the father of Boaz, whose mother was Rahab, the prostitute. Boaz, the father of Obed, whose mother was Ruth.
Right.
And Obed was the father of Jesse, which was the father of David.
Right.
Okay? So, God used her into the line of the Messiah.
That's right.
God can use anybody. Because somebody doesn't look right or act right, doesn't mean God can't use people.
That's right.
This shows that no one is beyond God's reach. He redeems broken people to fulfill his purpose and display his grace. All right. Third point, their mission was to survey Jericho before Israel crossed the Jordan. The spies' mission was focused on Jericho, a fortified city guarding the entry into Canaan. Understanding its defenses was vital for conquest. Through God's promise of victory, Joshua acted with wisdom. Faith faces reality with God's assurance rather than ignoring it. This shows that believers should combine trust in God with responsible action, knowing he blesses diligent preparation. Think about this. If Pastor David went up today to preach this morning, right? He walks up on the stage and goes, okay, God, just give me word. He didn't prepare. I'm not saying that God wouldn't give him word, because I've seen services before where the pastor will go up and completely just go off script.
Right.
Okay? I've seen services where we don't even preach, and we just have praise and worship all day. Okay? So it's not saying that God couldn't do it, but he was prepared. Okay? And then this act of preparation reflects Joshua's wisdom and trust in God's plan. Joshua's actions reflected both wisdom and faith. He trusted God's promise, yet prepared carefully for what lay ahead. True leadership unites courage, trust in God, and practical wisdom. Joshua's preparation encouraged confidence in God's plan. Faith is not reckless. It trusts God to act wisely and responsible in his will. And also, think about these two men that he sent to spy. As we get into this, these spies were very smart. Okay? One, they almost got caught. All right? They didn't really know what they were doing. Now, the 12 spies that Moses sent out, remember, Joshua was one of them, right? One of the two that believed. Him and Caleb. So, they went in prepared, the other 12, exactly what to do and everything. Joshua said, just go in there and check out Jericho. These guys walking in, they're like, uh-oh, where are we going? God shows them Rahab, and they hide with her.
Right.
Okay? They were not on point, I should say. They were not someone that you would typically send. All right. Frame 2. Rahab protects the spies. Joshua 2:2-7. Verse 2. The king of Jericho was told, look, some of the Israelites have come here tonight to spy out the land. So the king of Jericho was informed that Israelite men had come to search the land. News of the strangers quickly reached the king of Jericho, showing heightened vigilance and fear of Israel. God's reputation was already at work in the land. The king's quick reaction showed how much they feared the Israelites. As soon as he found out the Israelites came, he immediately sent men out to find out where they were. Because they heard of everything they did on the other side of the Jordan. Okay? They already heard of their conquest on that side. And their God, our God, just destroyed everything. And the king of Jericho is freaking out. All right?
Right.
He's worried. We got to find these men. Maybe if we find these men, we can find out what they're going to do, and we can prepare for it. Verse 3. So the king of Jericho sent this message to Rahab. Bring out the men who came to you and entered your house, because they have come to spy out the whole land. Think about this. He commanded Rahab to bring out the men who entered her house. He knew they entered her house. So they had people already looking out for the Israelites. They seen them come into the gates of Jericho. They go, where did they go? They followed them to Rahab's. Okay? They reported back to the king. So they've already been waiting. They knew they were on the other side of the Jordan. It was just a matter of time before they came to her. So they were trying to figure out how to save themselves.
And plus her house was a special house for the men.
It was. It was a special house for the men. Yes.
It's a very special
You
house.
got that 29. That's 29.
Thank you, Flo. All right. So the king demanded that Rahab surrender the spies, placing her at a crossroads of loyalty. To obey meant betraying God's people. To refuse meant risking her life. She was risking her life when she's talking to the messenger of the king. Rahab chose faith over fear. She aligned herself with God instead of her earthly king. Faith requires hard choices for us even today. Loyalty to God sometimes means defying worldly expectations. Just as Rahab refused to tell the king where those men were, there's times that our faith, when we're questioned on our faith, it may not be good for us. It could be in an employment setting. It could just be out in life itself. You know, you have a boss who is not a believer, and he finds out you're a believer, and he doesn't like you very much because of that.
Right.
You know, do you renounce your faith just to get along with your boss, or do you continue on with your faith?
Continue on.
We will be challenged all the time by our faith.
One thing, what I want to say, like, as Christian, people are always watching us. Like, even we may not notice it, but when you say you're a Christian, when you profess your faith that you're a Christian, they're gonna be, even if they don't say anything to you, they're gonna be watching you. So,
Yeah, so think of it this way, she was saying, you know, people are watching you, even if they don't question you. If you have a "I love Jesus" sticker on the back of your car, or a fish on the back of your car, please don't drive crazy.
Right?
If people see you as a Christian,
Right.
and you're zigzagging out of traffic and cut people off.
And you throw it out finger. You have a secret, I love Jesus.
If you have a sticker, please be careful how you drive.
Right? Go.
Oh, yeah.
All right, verse 4. But the woman had taken the men and hid them. She said, "Yes, the men came to me, but I did not know where they came from. At dusk, when it came time to close the city gate, they left. I do not know which way they went. Go after them quickly, you may catch them." So she hid the spies on the roof and misdirected the king's messengers. Yes, she lied.
Yeah.
She
lied.
Yes, she did.
Can I add to that, that I think Rahab was a very brave woman, because to me, thinking about that she lied to these men, knowing that she can also lose her life
Right.
for doing that.
Yes.
So she was just not any woman. She
Right.
was a very courageous
She
woman.
was. She was. Exactly right. So she hid the spies under the flats of her roof. God used ordinary materials for an extraordinary purpose. Her misdirection of the king's men demonstrated her loyalty to God's missions. Scholars debate her lie, but the focus is on her faith. Yes, she did lie to the king's messenger, but she did it to save the men of God. Okay.
Justified lying.
Now, I don't know.
That's what my boss said. I know you did not go there.
No mission.
And just like you mentioned, it takes risk to protect God's people, even in danger. Think of what Pastor John was talking today about the young lady that we're gonna sponsor. Okay? The people who are going to her Bible study, they had to have their faces blacked out for fear that something could happen to them if they were found at that Bible study. We are so lucky here that we can come and learn the Bible, and we don't have to worry about going to prison or even being killed for that.
Rahab knew of the.
She
of
did.
Israel.
She did.
So she feared him more than these men.
Correct.
So yes, she
Excellent.
lied, but like my husband said, she justifiably lied to be on the side of God.
Yes.
You know, so it's kind of like, well, I'm not gonna side with man, I'm gonna side with God.
Amen.
Excellent.
And then, go ahead.
And it's being spirit filled. So Corey Tenenbaum hid Jews, and she was a devout Christian. And so I'm pretty sure that they were like, we're coming to collect the Jews. And when she did, she was protecting God's people. So I think when it comes to protection, it's not about the lie, it's about the purpose and what was driving that.
Plus, when you look at in Matthew, where it gives the line, what Jesus came through, you check out all them people there, their lives was not good.
Right.
So, and let us know, it's not being perfect that draw us to Jesus. It's doing what has to be done. That, how Jesus came through, you know, the different lives.
Thought I seen the hand over here.
Yeah.
Lady?
This reminds me of, back in the Genesis, in the book of Genesis,
there were some ladies who were midwives delivering little boys.
Wow.
And the king's order was that all the boys that were born were supposed to be killed. She didn't do that, they didn't do that, they hurried and delivered. So when the king asked them, why didn't you destroy, why didn't you kill the boys? That she said, what she did was telling a lie. She said that the Hebrew women are
Giving birth so quickly.
they
Yes.
get birth so quickly.
Yes.
By
That
the
was
time
it.
they get there, the babies have already been born, so they're protecting these boys. And God bless those two women,
Yes.
because they spared these little boys. So this is another area in the Bible where
Wow.
people told a lie, but it was to protect something.
Yeah.
I believe, talking about the lie, it's a lie for us, man, but it's obedience to God.
Yeah.
We should know when we're Christian, what is the right thing to do as a Christian. And I'll read Hebrew chapter 11, verse 31, that talks about Rahab in the New Testament, because she did great. It says, by faith the harlot Rahab perished not with them that believed not, when she had received the spies with peace.
Wow.
That was her reward. She was spared.
All right, and then verse 24, the pursuers left the city gates in search of the men, and the gates were shut. So she lied to them, they went out. So verse 6, but she had taken them up on the roof and hid them under the stalks of flax she had laid out on the roof. So the men set out in pursuit of the spies on the road that leads to the fords of the Jordan. And as soon as the pursuers had gone out, the gates were shut. So she misdirected them. She had them to go in a different direction. So think about this, and the gates were shut. The people of Jericho knew that there was Israelite men had been in the city. So they left. They shut the gates because of fear. Fear of God's people and what they had done on the other side of the Jordan. They shut the gates to keep any other of them being able to come in. Okay? So no matter what, shutting the gates or not, and we know that, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But the gates didn't prevent God from taking care of Jericho. All right? So human defenses is not going to stop God's purpose. All right. Rahab's confession of faith. Joshua 2, 8 through 11. Verse 8. Before the spies laid down for the night, she went up on the roof. So before they slept, she came up to them on the roof. This shows a sense of urgency with Rahab. Okay. She didn't wait until the next morning. She went up to them before they went to sleep. Okay. Faith responds quickly when God opens a moment. She had just sent the messengers out after the spies that she hid. As soon as they left and the gates were shut, she ran upstairs, got on the roof and told the guys, hey, this is what's going on. All right? She didn't wait till the morning. Her courage was evident, for the discovery would have cost her life, yet she trusted God's plan more than her safety. Faith moves boldly when prompted by God's Spirit, even when it's risky. So, all right. Somebody's writing. Verse 9. And said to them, I know that the Lord has given you this land, and that great fear of you has fallen on us, so that all who live in this country are melting in fear because of you. We have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea for you when you came out of Egypt, and what you did to Sihon and Og, the two kings of the Amorites east of the Jordan, whom you completely destroyed. So she declared that she knew that the Lord had given the land to Israel. She declared that. They already knew everything that had happened. They already knew. They even knew 40 years ago how the Red Sea was dried up and the Israelites crossed it. Okay? She declared with certainty that God had given Israel the land. She saw his promise already fulfilled. Her confession showed remarkable insight for a Canaanite outsider, echoing faith's confidence in the unseen realities. This models how believers trust God's word before seeing results. Faith rests on his promises. We have to be like her. Believe that God will do something, even if we don't see it. Okay? You know, people say, how can you believe in God? You can't see him. Look at that tree out there.
Right.
Look at the bird.
No.
I was just reading something about these little, it's part of the animal kingdom. I would think they'd be an insect, but they're not. They're called Tagonites or something like that. They're the size of a pinhead. And God created them where radiation won't kill them. They can go to absolute zero minus 0.0 and not die. They can go to 278 degrees Fahrenheit and not die. They can go without air. They can go without water. God created this little thing that can survive pretty much anything.
Yeah.
Okay? How can you say there's not a God?
Right.
How can you say that just happened? You know? So, we believe God is here. We believe in God, even though we can't physically touch him. Okay. Her confession shows remarkable insight. This model how believers should believe in God's word. Third point, Rahab recounted the fear that fell on the people of Jericho because of Israel. She told them about everything that they knew happened. The Red Sea was dried up. The kings completely wiped out. So by her telling them, she's proclaiming the power of God. This is a Canaanite,
Right.
a non-believer, that is telling them
Mhm.
how great their God is. Okay? Verse 11, point 4. When we heard of it, our hearts melted in fear, and everyone's courage failed because of you. For the Lord your God is God in heaven above and on earth below.
My God.
She confesses that, Lord, Israel's God is a God of heaven and earth. Again, a non-believer praising God.
Would come to worship idol God,
Right,
and she saw the power of the Almighty God.
right. She understood that the gods that the Canaanites worshiped
Wasn't the true God.
aren't anything.
Right.
Okay. She realized that Israel's God is the real God. Her words show true faith, not mere fear. Because if she was just afraid of what God was going to do, she would proclaim that he is the God of heaven and earth. Okay? Her confession reminds us that God welcomes all who acknowledge him as the Lord, regardless of their background. Nobody from any background cannot say that God doesn't welcome them.
Right.
God welcomes everybody. You just have to confess that you believe in him. Okay? You have to accept Jesus Christ into your heart. That's all you have to do. You don't have to be the nicest person in the world to go to heaven. You should be. But by works alone, you cannot receive grace. You cannot receive salvation. Think of this: the thief on the cross.
I think about it.
He was saved in the last moments of his life. It wasn't because he was a good person, because he realized who Jesus was. Okay? So, just because somebody's a terrible person doesn't mean they can't be saved. All right. Next, Rahab's plea for mercy. Joshua 2:12 through 14. All right, verse 12. Now then, please swear to me by the Lord that you will show kindness to my family, because I have shown kindness to you. Give me a sure sign. So Rahab asked the spies to swear kindness to her family, that she had shown kindness to them. She appealed to their kindness. She asked for what, based on her loyalty to them. Her words revealed an understanding of a covenant of faithfulness, seeking inclusion in God's promises. Faith seeks to join God's people in his covenant blessings. She asked them, protect us. I protected you. Please protect us. Okay? She requested protection for her father, her mother, her brothers and sisters, and all who belong to them. In verse 13, that you will spare the lives of my father and my mother, my brothers and my sisters, and all who belong to them, and that you will save us from death. She wasn't being selfish in requesting this, okay? Faith is never selfish. She is asking for salvation, okay? So many times, one person in a family will be saved, and that salvation of that person gets the other people in their family to come to Christ also. She was asking the same thing, because I did this for you, and I believe in your God. Please save my family so that I can show them God. Okay? So her plea reminds us that one person's faith can bring blessings and safety to many. Just as Pastor David was talking today, one person can create multiple things. Okay? All right, verse 14. Our lives for your lives, the men assured her. If you don't tell what we are doing, we will treat you kindly and faithfully when the Lord gives us the land. So the spies promised their lives as security if she did not betray their mission. So they said, yes, we will protect your family on one condition. Don't tell what we just did. Don't tell what we were here. Don't tell what we're doing. Okay? So in case the king's men came back and threatened to kill her or her family, they asked, promise you don't tell. And we'll do everything we can to save your family. So by binding themselves to her, they acknowledged her as a part of Israel already. This points to God's own covenant oath and Christ's sacrifices as he guarantees for our salvation. So, their promise, the spies promised their lives as security. That was a binding covenant between them. In the Old Testament, a covenant was between two people. Okay? It could not be broken. They said they would not break it as long as she did not betray them. She withheld. When a covenant in the Old Testament, both sides have to uphold their side of the covenant. They promised safety as long as she promised to be quiet. Point 4. They agreed to spare her family when the Lord gave Israel the land. The spies spoke with certainty that the Lord would give Israel the land. Their faith was sure. They didn't say, well, if the Lord gives us Jericho, then we'll make sure that you're safe. They said, no, when the Lord gives us this land, we promise you'll be safe. There was no question in whether they thought the Lord was going to give them Jericho or not. This faith assured Rahab and confirmed her family's safety in God's plan. Faith rests on the certainty of God's promises, not human strength.
And it also shows Rahab's faith in the God that supposedly her people didn't believe in, because, and I'm looking at the NLT version, it says, it says that she said, when Jericho is conquered. It wasn't if.
Yeah.
She said,
If you guys do it,
when,
but we know you're doing it.
She said that.
Right.
So that just is more, proof of her true belief in their God.
Daisy?
I was just gonna,
Yeah.
Rahab was exercising more faith than even the Israelites themselves. Because the Lord really trust or believe. And yet, she is demonstrating her faith by confessing God.
Yeah.
Her belief in the Lord.
Yep, she is. So, all right. The escape plan. Joshua 2, 15 through 21. Verse 15. So she let them down by a rope through the window, for the house she lived in was part of the city wall. So Rahab let the spies down by a rope through her window. Her house was part of the actual wall of Jericho. Okay. So, one, she was ideally the right spot for the spies to have went. Okay. God used her home to secure their escape. Faith acts through courage and obedience, moving beyond words to deeds. God used ordinary means like a rope to carry out extraordinary deliverance. God put her and her house in the exact right spot needed in order to accomplish this. It wasn't by mistake that her house happened to be on the wall. It wasn't by mistake that they actually went to her house. It was God's provision. Everything falls in line according to God's provision.
Amen.
Verse 16, she said to them, "Go to the hills so the pursuers will not find you. Hide yourselves there 3 days until they return, and then go on your way." So she instructed them to hide in the hills for 3 days to avoid capture. She knew exactly how long these guys were going to be out looking for them. And she knew which direction she sent them, so she told them to go into the hills away from where she had sent them. She instructed them how to stay safe. She didn't just let them down and go, "All right, guys, I'll see you later when you come back." No, she made sure that they were going to be safe, even though they had left her house. Okay? So God placed her in their path to direct them. Again, God uses surprising people, Rahab, to fulfill his promises. Verse 17, now the men said to her, "This oath you made us swear will not be binding on us, unless when we enter the land, you have tied this scarlet cord to the window through which you let us down. And unless you have brought your father and your mother, your brother, and all your family into your house." So, the spies gave her a sign, tied a scarlet cord in the window for her household protection. This sign became a sign of salvation. The scarlet cord parallels the blood of the Lamb at Passover and foreshadows Christ's blood. God gives his people visible signs of his saving promises to strengthen faith. Scarlet cord. It wasn't a purple cord. It wasn't a blue cord. It was a scarlet cord. The blood of the Lamb. The blood of Christ. Salvation. Okay. Verse 19. If any of them go outside your house into the street, their blood will be on their own heads. We will not be responsible. As for those who are in the house with you, their blood will be on our head if a hand is laid on them. But if you tell them what we're doing, we will be released from the oath you made us swear. Agreed, she replied. Let it be as you said. So she sent them away, and they departed, and she tied the scarlet cord in the window. So Rahab agreed to their terms, tied the scarlet cord in her window, and sent them away. She did that immediately.
Right.
All right? She didn't go, "Okay, I'll take the cord. When I start seeing them coming to Jericho, I'll go and put the scarlet cord on my window." No, she did it right then. Okay? She knew God was coming. He was tearing Jericho down, and she was getting ready. She didn't wait. So many times we wait. God tells us to do something. We go, "All right, well, when I see it coming, I'll do that." You know, or like Pastor was talking about kingdom builders today, missions. So many times we'll say, "Well, I'll just wait and see what other people do before I get to kingdom missions." Or, "Well, yeah, God, I know you're telling me to give $100 for this, but I'm kind of tight this week, so if you send me the $100, I'll be more glad to get it." You guys laugh, but people think that way, okay? People do.
You said she did that immediately. Also, did she bring her family into her home immediately?
It does not say, but I would assume yes.
She had to go witness to them and explain.
Yeah, she had to go get them and pull them in, but I'm
Tell them
assuming
to
she
keep
went
their
down.
mouth shut too.
Yeah, and they have to keep their mouth shut too. her family.
Talk about that, let's go.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanna, go a little bit back, about the spies. Before you said that Moses sent 12 spies.
Right.
And I'm just thinking, it just, in my mind, that for me, Joshua thought he just needed 2 men with faith, not a whole group.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it also, it's similar that Joshua and Caleb, they were the only 2 out of the 12 group that had faith. He only needed 2 individuals that believed in God and trusted God to get that work done.
Wow.
God can use a few to save the many.
Exactly.
Alright. Then our last friend here, the spies return to Joshua. Alright, verse 22. When they left, they went into the hills and stayed there 3 days until the pursuers had searched all along the road and returned without finding them. So the spies hid in the hills for 3 days until the pursuers returned. They did exactly as they were instructed. Rahab gave them instructions on how to stay hidden, and they followed it. Okay? God's timing ensured their safety. The 3-day wait reflects biblical patterns where God works deliverance after a time of waiting. Faith often requires patience as God works unseen on our behalf. Very similar to what I've said before. We live in an instant society today. God, I need your help. Come on, I asked you 5 minutes ago. God! Faith happens, but you have to wait. Everything is in God's time. Right? We may think we know better, but it's not necessarily the best. Okay? My personal experience, when I was 17, 18, 19, I wanted to be in the ministry. Okay? I took a lot of detours. I thought I needed to do stuff differently. I had one profession for 21 years, now I'm in another profession for 20 years. But 10 years ago, I went and got my pastoral degree. But
Very smart.
I will say this, everything I learned in my first profession and in my second profession has allowed me to help the church. Okay? I may have thought I needed to go right in when I was 18, 19. I had a different plan. He wanted me to learn things so that I'd be more effective and once I became a pastor. I will say this, I don't know how I would have been a pastor when I was 18 because I was afraid to speak in front of people. I literally, I had graduated, I was salutatorian on my class, and they told me I was gonna have to do a speech. Literally, I went to an exam, it was my last exam, I wrote 0 on it, handed it to the teacher, so I graduated 3rd in my class, so I did not have to get up and do a speech.
Wow.
That's how afraid of speaking in front of people I was.
No way.
So can you imagine being a pastor and not being able to speak in front of people? It'd be pretty hard. So God, through everything that He has done in my life, has given me the ability to do that. Okay? If I went into the ministry initially,
But he would've gave you what you needed though.
He would have. But what if I would have got nervous and failed, and then I walked out of the ministry and never went back into it? That happens too many times.
Just like you said,
Everything.
the path that you went on has now helped you here to serve the church.
Correct.
Which if you wouldn't have done that and you wouldn't went into ministry, God wouldn't use you in that ability.
Correct.
He could have took you to a different direction,
Yeah.
a different ministry.
Yeah.
That's what I was about to say, that your ministry wasn't to go up and preach, your ministry
I'm
was
a
to
teacher at heart,
Mhm.
always have been, I'm not a preacher.
Yeah, right. So what you thought you were supposed to do, God was saying, you were supposed to go take care of the finances and do all the other stuff.
So everything in God's time.
So that's why, Joshua sent the two spies, because he knew they were gonna be strong, and look at you.
Joshua sent 2 spies because he knew it was him and Caleb.
Yes, yes.
Send 12 people, chances are somebody's gonna come back with a bad report.
Yeah.
Send 2 you have faith in, you know they're gonna come back with the right report.
Yeah.
All right.
Names of the spies weren't there,
Hmm?
the names of the spies.
No, they do not list the name of the spies.
What if Caleb was one?
Never
He
know.
was too old about it.
All right, verse 23. Then 2 men started back. They went down out of the hills, towards the river, and came to Joshua, son of Nun, and told him everything that had happened. So they came down safely, crossed the Jordan, and returned to Joshua. They returned across the Jordan safely. They did exactly what they were told to do. Okay? Their safe return shows God's faithfulness in both sending and bringing them back. God sustains his people in mission and restores them to testify of his work. If these guys didn't make it back safely, they couldn't tell everything that Rahab had told them about the fear that the people of Jericho had. Right? They wouldn't have been able to do any of that. God protected them. Point 3, they reported everything that had happened, including Rahab's faith and protection.
Jim,
Sir?
now, I think we got the name of one of the spies.
Yeah.
If you go to Matthew chapter 1, verse 5, where it says Salmon begat Boaz by Rahab. No, Salmon begat Boaz by Rahab. So actually, I think one of the spies' name was Salmon.
Well, that's who married.
That's who married.
That's who's father of Boaz. Salmon was the father of Boaz.
But Rahab was the mother.
Right.
So Salmon had sex with Rahab and produced,
Maybe he was one of the spies.
Yeah.
Maybe they got a relationship, you know. He watched out for her, that's possible. That's possible. So they reported everything, including Rahab's faith and protection. Her testimony strengthened Israel. God used an outsider's faith to strengthen Israel. Okay? Can you imagine? The 2 spies come back and they go, we met this lady. She was a prostitute. All of a sudden Joshua's face probably went, what? But no, you gotta listen to what she said. She said, everybody there in Jericho is in fear of us. They heard everything that has happened over here. And she declared that our God is the God of heaven and earth. An outsider declared that. And she also declared that she knows God is giving Jericho to them.
Right, exactly.
Can you believe an outsider believed this? You know, and they're probably thinking, wow, God is moving, right?
She's not an outsider.
She's not an outsider, not anymore.
I don't think she was ever an outsider. I mean, she was from people that lived there that were not outsiders.
Meaning,
Just like people in the world that we're all around with, a lot of us believe what we believe, a lot of us think we're crazy. But like that girl in this foreign country that's doing what she's doing, she knew that from somewhere.
Yep.
And she's helping all these young people.
Right.
So she's an insider.
Yeah, could be.
Vince?
This might sound kind of out there, but if anyone would have known the rumors about what would happen about God, would be a prostitute, because the men would come in and they talk.
And they talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the barbershop.
Especially.
Yep, just like the barbershop.
Yep.
James,
All right.
they were quick going
That's how
in
she knew.
and didn't have time, you know, to find information, and then they went into Rahab's house. Rahab provided the report to take back.
Correct. Yeah.
God just summed it all up for them.
Yeah, he put it all together right at once. All right, verse 24. Point 4. They said to Joshua, the Lord has surely given the whole land into our hands. All the people are melting in fear because of us. So the spies told Joshua, truly the Lord has given all the land into our hands. The people were melting in fear.
Wow.
Unlike the fearful report of the 12 in Numbers 13, these spies spoke in faith. They had the faith, the confidence that God had already provided them the land. They didn't challenge it. They didn't say, oh, we spoke to Rahab, she thinks everything's gonna happen, but, you know, we did see how strong, big the walls were. The gates were huge.
And how thick
We see the soldiers on the inside. We probably might want to rethink this. No. They went in and showed faith. They knew that God was gonna give it to them. Okay? So, all right. Next week, we're gonna do chapters 3 and 4.